Okay, so I totally went to the embassy yesterday and did all my visa stuff, and it was pretty fun. It was a really, really good day. Um, I'm not going to talk too much about going to the embassy because I talked about it in my last vlog, so check that one out if you want to know about going, what you need to take, and all that shizzle. The only thing I'm going to add in addition to my last vlog, is take a pen with you, because I forgot to take a pen. And when you've been up to the first window, given your fingerprints and all that, they give you a form where you have to fill out to say where you want your passport to go back to. And I forgot to take a pen. So take a pen. That's my tip for the embassy. This vlog is actually going to be a little bit about costs of the international programs. It does vary a tiny bit between the ICP for the summer and the CRP for the year, but the base costs are pretty much the same for both. And I know that if you're thinking of applying, and they've just opened applications again for the summer program, so I'm sure there's lots of people thinking about applying at the moment. It's good to know how much it potentially will cost you. So the biggest cost that you'll have to think about is the flight. That's normally the biggest cost. Flights can vary a lot. It depends on when you're going, it depends on how far ahead you book it depends if there's sales and things like that. For the CRP, I'm going out on the 29th of October, which is a really quite an off-peak time to fly. So my flight actually only cost about £330, so it's quite cheap. In the past, my first programme when I flew out, I booked my flight in March and I flew out on the 20th of June, I think, 22nd of June, something like that. And that flight cost me more like £600. Now that was a return flight, whereas my CRP flight is a single because obviously I'm coming back a long time in the future, so I can't book my return. So your flight could cost you basically anywhere between £350 to £650, depending on when you book it. So that's number one, that's the big cost. In addition to that, you've got to have insurance. Whatever program you do, you've got to have medical insurance. And that's normally kind of linked to travel insurance as well. I will probably actually try and do another vlog about insurance because it's one of those subjects which people always need help with, and it's very complex and vile. Don't really like it that much, but I'll try and do a vlog about that. So insurance for my summer programs for 3 months, I booked it with a company that I had my car insurance with, which didn't make it any cheaper for me, but obviously I knew they were a good company, and I think it cost me around about £100 for the whole summer. This time I've had to book 4 months of insurance, which is the minimum you do for the CRP, and I think it cost me around about £150, but I bought it with my flight from STA Travel, so I got a bit of a discount and it's all kind of wrapped up in one cost, but I think it was about £150. That'll go through for the first 4 months of my program, and then after that I get the choice of whether to stick with it and extend it for the rest of the year, or whether to change and go with Disney insurance. When you're there for the year, you can use Disney insurance, which you pay on a weekly basis. It comes out of your paycheck on varying levels of cover, and it can be quite cheap, so I'm going to look into that when I get there. But insurance is a cost. The visa, that's always a cost. After going to the embassy yesterday, I remembered how much it will cost me. The actual visa itself, at the moment, it's about $150, which is equating to roughly £100. You pay for that via the phone when you book your embassy appointment, and you pay by credit or debit card. But that's not the only cost of the visa, because you've got the fee, the post and packing fee to get your passport back, because it has to be sent by courier. So that's going to cost a minimum of about £15. And then in addition to that, you've got the travel expenses for you to go to the embassy. So for the UK, you're either going to be going to London or you're going to be going to Belfast. And unless you're lucky enough to live in one of those two places, you're going to have to get there, get back, and potentially stay overnight as well. My visa appointment was 8:30 in the morning, so obviously it would have been quite difficult for me to get there for that time from Bristol. So I stayed with a friend, but I know people that have had to pay for a hotel. And on that note, another cost which people don't think about is the face-to-face interviews. Same goes for that. You have to get there and you have to get back, and you may have to stay in a hotel. So have a little think about how much that will cost as well. And the last fee that you have to pay is a housing fee. Everyone has to pay it, but you don't pay it until about a month before you go. I think it's around about $100, something like that. So it is around about £60 or £70. Um, but that is covers like admin costs, it covers your bills, it covers transportation, it covers all the events that they organise for you, your internet access, all that kind of stuff, which, you know, you could view as being included in your rent, but that's the way I always put it to people. So yeah, I mean, costs per person is going to vary. It depends on your program as well. But for me, this time for the CRP, costs have probably equated to around about £700 in total. That is pre program costs. For my ICP, the first time, because I found out a lot later, I found out in March I was going and I went in June, so I had a very short period of time in there. The whole thing cost me more like £900. And my second program last summer, I found out about 6 months before I went, so I had a bit more time. So last time probably cost me about £600. The only other cost that you have to pay for is your CRB check, which is your criminal record background check, and that is £60 as well. So yeah, I would say average costs are probably between £600 to £800 for each person. And I'm not saying it to put you off applying, I'm just saying so you know in advance of how much it may cost, so how much you need to save before you even leave for Florida. Obviously, in addition to all those costs, you want to take money with you as well. So have a think about it, and if, as usual, have any questions, let me know. And thank you for watching my vlogs. My viewings have been going up and up and up, and my blog's been going up as well. So yeah, pass on the word.